Hello viewers, my name is Adam.
Yeah, I'm here.
This is Sticky Meat Productions bring you another movie review.
Can I just go on record as saying that Ryan Coogler as a director has yet to have a miss? And can we just acknowledge how awesome that is? It's spectacular.
It is a solid 5 feature film run, and I am so looking forward to the rest of his career.
Oh my god. I know so many projects that all of Hollywood needs to be freaking getting this man to be signed on to. This man should just write his own checks at this point. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm. And the movie that we're going to be discussing in this video is Sinners. And also, if we're very, very close to 1,000 subscribers.
Hit it, y'all. Let's join the fun. Just come on. Now, from the trailer, or at least the one trailer I allowed myself to watch, I was already sold. I mean, his name alone on the project sells the project in my eyes already. But those trailers, I was interested. I feel as though the first one, though, and we've already had that discussion, it didn't really show too much of what the movie was supposed to be about, and I wanted to keep it that way because I feel as though certain trailers these days just spoil everything. Fast forward, to actually getting to watch it, yeah, I was thoroughly impressed.
Mm-hmm. Now, Sinners is a very discussed project a couple of years ago, especially since it's coming off of like a 2 knockout run of Black Panther films that Ryan Coogler did for Disney, and Sinners was this original film that was on the a bidding war. Warner Brothers ended up getting that bidding war, but it's such a very interesting aspect to this deal because
he went ahead and probably made one of the most historic deals that any director could have made at the time, and that being that once Sinners has been out for I believe 20 years 25 years, the rights go automatically back to him and his family's estate. That is outrageous.
Yeah, so this movie has to be good or succeed for that to even happen. It's just that even then, he also got Final Cut. It's such astounding. But that being said, with all that heat going into this movie, what do we think about it?
If we're going to sum up the story to any particular sense, without giving too much of a spoiler, it centers itself around around a group of individuals living down in Mississippi, specifically a young man or a preacher's son, or known in the movie as Sammy the Preacher Boy, and his cousins being played by Michael B. Jordan. Wow, it's pretty interesting stuff that goes on around from there.
Yeah, the cousins of that Michael B. Jordan portrays, Smoke and Stack, or Elijah and Elias Moore, they are coming back from Chicago after doing like a successful run up there to go back to their roots and set up shop back down in Mississippi to create, to build a space for themselves.
A juke joint, pretty much. A place for individuals of the community to come around, gather, drink liquor, and be able to play music, jazz, or specifically the blues and stuff like that. And for the most part, it's pretty by the numbers at that point, but things start to turn even darker as the movie progresses. Of course, they had to deal with the times of what colored individuals, specifically the African American community, had to deal with during down then, even just trying to buy the juke joint. And then this new, more mysterious threat rolls into town, bringing his own unique form of darkness.
Now, the movie does it is one of the rare cases where, even though it's a slow burn in a sense, it does a slow burn well because it's able to flesh out the world in which not only having such a vast ensemble cast that are thoroughly being written and setting up the stakes as it goes on in a very effective manner.
That's true. I mean, this movie lives or dies. It lives and thrives off of the characters that are introduced each as they're brought on into the story.
And this movie has a very recognizable structure if you are familiar with the genre of which the movie is set itself in. But it's able to play with the familiarity of the genre it's in while also infusing itself with rich, layered historic culture of vast depth.
Yes, I feel as though if I can actually sum up, or at least try to go into, or at least try to put a light towards Ryan Coogler's unique directorial touch, is that he does an outstanding job infusing cultural ideology within his films and his projects. And that is all on display, especially with this unique touch on how he does it in this film.
Case in point, the movie is a secret musical movie.
Surprise, y'all. I mean, all of you out there who want to claim that you don't love musicals, if you don't leave this film with those songs and the score in your head and tapping your feet and jumping on and hooting and hollering and partying right there in your little seat, I don't know what's going to move you.
Yeah, it sneaks it in a way that it is so organic. How they touch upon the cultural significance of the music itself, particularly in this case blues and also other cultural landmarks of it speaks to the wide diversity of America itself.
Yes,
in a sense,
but always through the cultural lens of individuals living in the South.
The marketing itself. It states that it's kind of a vampire movie.
It's very reminiscent of another vampiric film not too long ago, that being from...
Well, not too long. No, this is old at this point.
Yeah, you're right. It's old. From Dusk Till Dawn, y'all. So this is pretty much around that same sense, but it has...
It's only structurally.
Exactly, structurally. Most of this film is uniquely Ryan Coogler's vision.
The only other type of movie that I can compare this film to... only based on the structure of how it frames another classic movie, is that it's Nope from Jordan Peele.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, that is structurally like a Jaws in a movie a remake through the African American lens, with more of a focus on the filmmaking Hollywood industry perspective,
and a little bit of First Encounters, or I would say First Encounters is specific on that aspect alone.
And this one has the structure of how Dusk Till Dawn, the first from Dusk Till Dawn, tackles this subject matter, but with more of a culturally rich musical sense.
Mm-hmm. But again, this film's story is carried through by the outstanding performances of the characters within it. And that's, I guess, a good point to jump off into.
The movie stars Michael B. Jordan, who's playing the dual roles of Smoke and Stack.
Anytime an actor is successful in being able to differentiate the characters of twins through their own unique performances and giving life between two characters is already, in my books, an outstanding piece.
And the way he decided to differentiate the characters of these two twins is Smoke is the more serious of the twins, and Stack is more carefree to a sense, and also they're visually color coded. But there is enough nuance between the two characters that Michael B. Jordan is like very charismatic to convey through both.
Yeah, at times it's almost as if you really are dealing with two distinct individuals in his performance. And I feel as though that's just brilliant to be able to see. And it gives such a charismatic feel to him that you really do feel the brotherly connection between the two individuals.
And what the movie what the marketing doesn't highlight is actually the real main character in the movie. And that is Sammy, the preacher boy, who is portrayed by newcomer at the time of this video, Miles Caton.
That's right, y'all. This is pretty much his first real cinematic, venture out here, at least for the big screen. You would not guess that this is his first film. His
first role, period.
Yeah, his first role, period. He is incredibly talented. So after this film, if nothing else comes from this project alone, he needs more work. I need to see him in more stuff, whether it be specifically for film and television, or if it goes through his musical aspect. And he's talented.
His role, the story is like that of a coming of age tale of wanting to aspire for more in his life, especially
those humble beginnings that you get from a background like his to get into the real depth of his true passions, which is the music itself.
But there's a lot of hurdles and from the real world of mundane struggles, but also apparently the
Supernatural angles that comes from vampires.
it really puts into perspective of what direction that he wants to go in, especially through the struggles of wanting to break free from his own family. Of Hailee Steinfeld, the other big name in this movie, who's playing the character of Mary.
Oh wow, I have yet to actually see a role that Hailee hasn't been able to really just knock out the park. I feel as though she's really a talented actress, and the way that she carries herself in the role of Mary in this film is to be applauded.
Mm-hmm. Like there are because of the set in the South of America, I can't help but see that she's playing more of a somewhat traditional ladylike approach to the more hard edge snap talking character that where she had her own debut back in True Grit.
Oh yeah, and then of course her storyline is infused. We had another deep dive in Afro American cinematic history, I would say.
Yes. If anybody's aware of a film called Imitation of Life,
you'll understand where they were going with the role of Mary.
Mm-hmm. It is it's her character speaks volume to some of the more minority or niche aspect within the African American community that is not it was addressed in Imitation of Life, but it's also being subtly explored here.
Exactly, very subtly. It's not
to an extent.
It's not like completely out there, but they do touch on it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Wunmi Mosaku. I loved her since Lovecraft Country, and the role that she plays here as Annie.
I always will advocate for films and television and books and whatnot to emphasize more of the roots of African American or African mythology and social dynamics into a role. And I feel as though with the role that's being played by this actress, I definitely see it and I do appreciate it.
Like her role is more of a much grounded take on the wise spiritual person or spiritual or faith-based individual who knows all about the supernatural that goes on.
Think of like the Van Helsing in the Dracula flick,
or the Romani in the Wolfman.
Mm-hmm. That's where this character comes into play, but it's also her role in this film is also very heavily tied towards one of the other main characters in this film, that being of Smoke, and when you actually see their dynamics, unravel throughout this movie, you absolutely understand where the director was going with and how well this is actually displayed.
Mm-hmm. And also another character worth discussing is portrayed by the great Delroy Lindo.
I love all his Delta. I just love this man. Whatever he does, he has such a vigor to his roles and his performances. It's amazing.
Like he's another musician character who is you can tell from the way he delivers his lines that there's so much history that's worth exploring here.
Yes.
But it also highlights a criticism that I do want to say about how the movie tells its narrative.
Yeah, whenever they're discussing the backstory for certain characters or certain things that happens in this film, it almost always follows the concept of a cliche in film in general. The concept of telling but not showing, or show don't tell. They don't do enough in my eyes, or at least in both of our eyes, of expressing through the visual dynamics of film what makes these characters tick. There's crucial elements they like to explore, they like to talk about in this film, but they don't really emphasize them enough for the visual medium that they're in.
Yes, we could have easily explored just some footage of when how the twins' time of Chicago, or they're on their way to from Chicago to Mississippi. But with Delta, portrayed by Delroy Lindo, he has this very engaging monologue about his time spent like from a musical game that he once like explored, once like played with.
This particular scene utilizes the concept of both his the audio auditorial aspects of it in such a unique way that I feel as though if they actually did that with more aspects in this film, that would have been okay. But more to the point along is that that's one of the very unique and subtle instances in this film in which they do delve a little bit deeper through that auditorial sense, that I feel as though if you did it for this one part, you should have did it from even more of them, or at least gave us even
or
more
just actually show us like some type of visual
distinction for those aspects.
And talk about vampires. The antagonist of the movie, played by Jock O'Connell, who plays the character of Remick.
He has fun with this role. And it's really interesting to really see him lack of better words, sink his teeth into this aspect. I really like their presentation of vampires, but for the most part, it's pretty much very generic vampire fare as far as how they engage with individuals. I do like the unique story structure they like to tie in with this group of individuals who are suffering through this calamity. But for the most part, I definitely enjoyed it. I feel as though Jack and Carnal definitely brought it here with Remick. And
it's just that how they explore, they do nothing new with the vampire. Lore.
It's very much used as just another vehicle for the struggles,
the plight,
and the plight
American life,
especially for individuals of color during this time period.
In his own particular, because of him coming from an Irish background, just basically downtrodden minorities at the time. Overall production. Ryan Coogler directs the heck out of this movie.
Oh, yeah. There is a particular scene, and I can't wait for you all to watch it. Hopefully no one will spoil it for you. That I feel as though if he is not given at least a nod or look at for an Oscar, they're doing the complete disservice to film in general. And it ties itself right back to what I stated earlier as far as what is Ryan Coogler's distinct directorial fingerprint. That scene completely emphasizes it.
Yes. The movie was shot primarily for IMAX. But it was also shot in a very long form, like widescreen format. We were able to watch it on a Dolby Atmos theater, which is it's set between the two. Watch this as the biggest screen as possible.
Oh yeah, you want to be able to see all what's going to be presented to you on screen.
Yes, because watching this is a theater experience.
Yes.
And the movie is it's very this very gritty film aesthetic that really works with for the grounded tone they're going for, especially with horror. I feel as though it should be good. Having that nice, good film aesthetic to it.
Yep.
With that gritty look. But with us saying that this is technically half a musical as well, Ludwig Göransson brings it home with
When
composing.
is he ever not, though? Let's just be honest. But definitely in this film, I gotta get me the soundtrack for this because it was banging throughout the entirety of this production.
Yeah, from beginning to end, when the movie starts, his music, it sneaks up on you. It instantly hijacks you with what you experience as traditional classical Southern music.
Oh yeah.
Until it crescendos into
the jukebox.
The jukebox setting, in which that's where it really the juke joint where it explodes embraces this very very rich blues and and other cultural music all throughout from the beginning until the movie ends, even to the credits.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. So yeah, please stay through the credits, y'all. You will not be disappointed.
And so for Sinners, I'm glad to say this is a great movie. Very
much so. There are definitely aspects that could have been reasoned higher. This is that keeps us from actually giving it an amazing or an epic.
Mostly due to the fact that it does play so much on the traditional vampires, classical tropes,
and also the concept of basically not showing, but just telling on certain character dynamics and expressions. But for the most part, this was a great time, and everybody needs to go out and watch this film.
My name is Adam.
And I'm Aaron.
This has been a Sticky Media Productions. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and comment below. What is your favorite Ryan Coogler film at this point?
I'm like, this man can't fail. And I'm like, I don't want him to. Keep going out there. I want to see more. And again, I want to hit this right just because this is another vampire play. I just want to put my fingers out there. Let's get these werewolves going because I really do need to see more werewolf movies and let them succeed too. So werewolves, mummies, all the supernatural flair. Let's get them all going.
Also discuss with us on the other platforms of Threads and Instagram and Letterboxd, because we would like to discuss all things media on the different areas.
See y'all later.
See you.